The XL Energy Center on a Sunday afternoon in St. Paul, Minnesota. The Professional Women's Hockey League in the capital city for an important game as we approach the international break. Here is how Boston is going to start on the ice with former Frost players Susanna Kahani centering that top line. Megan Keller and Daniela Pechova on the blue line. We talked about Soderberg. And for Minnesota, their Scotiabank starting lineup. Kelly Panik's line will start. Curl and Bryant on the flanks. Steckline and Thompson, maybe two of the best defensive defensemen in the league this year. And Nicole Hensley will get the start this time.
Yeah, Nicole Hensley getting a crack here today. Looking for her third win of the season. She definitely hasn't played like the Nicole Hensley we know she's capable of playing like yet this year, and even Coach Ken Klee has echoed that at times, so they're hoping she can get a win here. And Emma Soderberg, as we talked about in the Open, only a couple starts this season, still looking for that first win.
Courtney Kessel, second year, loves the buy-in of her team, and they are building to where she wants it to be in a few months. And there is Ken Klee. Wants to see more energy today from the Frost, Alexis. The last couple of games, they have had under 10 chances. And, you know, his line is 20 plus. That's where he wants to see the chances at the end of the game.
Yeah, and Coach Ken Klee, a lot of times when we talk to him, talking about Minnesota not getting the production they need, he's pleased with a lot of what they're doing, just not seeing the results. Today, he was very honest with us, saying it just hasn't been enough lately.
So we're underway here on this Sunday afternoon. Two of the three U.S.-based franchises meeting for the fourth time. Boston and Minnesota certainly know each other very well after meeting in the Walter Cup Finals a season ago. Thompson swings it to the near side. Got it to the blue line, but not out. Held in by Boston. And DiGirolamo will push it down into the corner. This is Hannah Brandt now for the Fleet. Back up top. Swung in behind the net. Good pressure here by Boston early. It's Hannah Brandt again. Beats a pass off. This is Bard. Bard drive. Save made. Rebound out in front. Swatted at. Minnesota will gather it up and clear it out. It'll be Kendall Coyne getting just enough on it to sweep it down the length of the ice.
Well, Coach Courtney Kessel told us how pleased that she was to see her team get that early 2-0 lead in their last matchup, and saying they could finally relax at that first intermission. They played so many tight games over the course of their history that it was nice to finally have a bit of a lead there. They're getting some of that supplemental scoring and supplemental help as well. They're looking to her to have a big game here against Minnesota.
Clara Himralova won the draw for Minnesota. Right back to Shishova. She got a shot on. There's another one steered away by the goaltender Soderberg. Now picked up by Brandt, and she'll get enough on it to clear the zone for the Fleet. Minnesota attacks again. Shishova swings it into the slot. Nobody there for Minnesota. It's intercepted and pushed back out by Boston. And they will gain the Minnesota line, but turn it over as they make a line change. A couple of minutes into the hockey game. Shots one apiece. As Emily Brown will be the puck carrier now. First career game-winning goal came on Wednesday. It was also her first goal of the season in that 4-1 home victory over Toronto Wednesday night. And there's a drive, and it is Brown, and it's right on. And it's stopped by Hensley.
This is a big game for Minnesota. You're coming off maybe your most dissatisfying loss of the season, and not that there's ever such a thing as a satisfying loss, but there is such a thing as a dissatisfying loss. And talking to Coach Ken Klee, he wasn't happy. I'm sure the players aren't happy, and this is a big one here today. I know it's just another game in the thick of the season, but this is going to say a lot about the character of Minnesota if they can find a way to win this one against Boston.
Yeah, especially considering that they're still without a lot of players. No Natalie Bookbinder. She's got a hand injury. Liz Shepers is out with an illness. And then, of course, Grace Sumwinkle and Don Petrie are still making their way back. And none of these players are likely to be back before the international break. And, of course, another game on Tuesday that they're likely to miss. There's Heise getting her first scoring chance on a backhand. And Soderberg forced to make a save.
Well, and Clay, we were talking before the broadcast saying that, you know, we've had so many home games here in the month of January. As we take another look here at this last opportunity, Claire Thompson holds at the blue line, and then Curl picks it up and just drives a backhand into Soderberg. But we were talking about the fact that there's been so many storylines over this month about injuries and illness, and we feel like we're repeating ourselves. But the matter of fact is, is it's been such a long problem for Minnesota that we have to talk about it every broadcast. And of course, that's part of the reason things probably haven't been going so well for them. But at the end of the day, everyone goes through injuries and illness, and they need to find a way out of this.
And they're trying to put that 3-game losing streak to bed today. Maloney carries it in for Boston. Sweeps it in behind the net. Now Alina Mueller looking to center. She's being shadowed there by Sophie Jakes. Played off into the corner. And DiGirolamo carries it off for Bard. Bard now passed down to Tapani. Kicked it to her stick. And now lost it here on the near wing side. A couple of players go down. Himralova lost her stick. They're digging for it. DiGirolamo at the bottom of the pile. The officials not blowing the whistle. Play continuing on 4 minutes into this game. And now finally Minnesota will control with Channel Watkins.
And just about 4 minutes into this one, Minnesota seems to have a little bit more pep in their step early here. A couple shots apiece for each of these teams. But Minnesota seeming to play a little bit better, at least at the get-go, than they did against Ottawa the other night.
Both teams trying to score early. That certainly helped fuel Boston in their win over Toronto on Wednesday night. They scored in the first period 2 quick goals against Toronto.
And especially important for Boston on the road. It's always a little tougher when you're in an environment away from your home ice, and to get that first one out of the way is helpful as we get a hand pass.
And now Boston will control. Through center, this is former Minnesota player Emma Greco. She'll fling it toward the net. Scooped up by Hensley, and she'll leave it for Stecklein. Lee Stecklein. Good pass ahead. Himralova with some speed, but she's cut off. And pushed to the outside, taken down, no whistle. Greco really physical on that back check for Boston. Now here's Rattray. She'll flip it on. Piece of a blocker got some of that.
The fans on that side of the ice at least felt there should have been a penalty, but most of the fans are wearing purple, so that could also explain it.
That would explain it. There's Mae Batherson now for Minnesota. That floats in behind the Boston net. 14-15 left on the clock here in the first period. Amanda Pelkey now, the gold medal winner in 2018 with Team USA, gets it into the Minnesota zone. Pumped over to the near wing side. Sydney Morin took a hack at it. Loose in behind the cage. Now this is Schaafsol on a backhand. She'll play it to the point. Sydney Morin again. Rich shot, and that was deflected by Schaafsol, who was cruising through, but couldn't get it on the net. Minnesota trying to control at the side of the net. Reaching out was Hensley. I think the net got popped up, and that's why the whistle blew. And so we've got a break in the action. 13:46 to go. Opening period in St. Paul. We're looking for our first goal of the game.
Welcome back to St. Paul. No score here in this first period between Minnesota and Boston. The Frost continue to play shorthanded, as mentioned earlier on the broadcast. No Grace Zumwinkle. She's been out of the lineup with an upper body injury since January 2nd. Ken Cleve did say Grace has been getting on the ice. She's been actively skating with the team almost every day on top of her physical therapy treatment. Coach says it's more of a strength thing for Grace. He stressed the importance of thinking long-term with her this season, guys, rather than getting her back too soon and risking anything. As you mentioned earlier on the broadcast, no Liz Shepard. She's sick tonight. So just a theme for this team to battle shorthanded.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. You know, these international breaks, sometimes it doesn't feel like they're very good timing for those, but I think Minnesota's going to appreciate this one. A 9-day break starting on February 3rd for that rivalry series between the U.S. and Canada. Guys, I know that you guys are excited about it. I'm excited about it. Some of the players are just going to use it to get healthy.
It'll be good for everybody, whether you're playing in it, taking a little extra time to rest and reevaluate.
This one is tipped at center and going to drift all the way back into the Boston zone.
And we talked to both the coaches about that break coming up and how big this week of action is as far as trying to end on the right note before you hit that break. And Boston's trending in the right direction. Minnesota is not, and that's another reason this is so critical. Minnesota tries to find a way to win here.
Check out FanDuel for all the latest odds and betting markets available for the PWHL. This is Alexis Pearson on Clay Matthew. Katie Storm working ringside. As Minnesota plays it in deep. Sophie Jakes bangs it off the end boards. Loose puck behind the net, centered. Sticked away by Hillary Knight from the slot.
It was a good idea. Cava was there just a little too far up in the slot.
Also, Channel Watkins' shot. Pad saved by Soderberg. Channel Watkins, an assist in all 3 games against Boston this year, as Soderberg muffles this one as we go back to that last chance for Minnesota.
And great job by Kendall Coyne-Schofield, the captain, on that last opportunity. Camped right out front. The shot through here. Cava gets a stick on it, but Soderberg is there to get in front of that tip.
But Cava has really elevated her game here in the last 4 or 5 games. 2 goals in the last 4. Thunder Bay, Ontario negative. We talked about who's going to lead Minnesota out of this hole, and Cava is certainly another player who could get hot and continue to play well and help Minnesota get back on track.
Well, she was 3rd on the team in goals last year with 5, and she's just a really smart player. She's always kind of right there in the action, and the points don't always show it, but you know she's reading the play well, and she's usually involved in some way, shape, or form, as you can see on that last shift there.
Under 12 minutes to go in the first period. Kicked along by Flaherty. Batherson will try to start it out on that far wing. It's knocked back by Boston. They'll hold the zone momentarily. Now Flaherty gets it ahead. From center, Himralova will just slide it in. Line change for the Frost. Himralova, a rookie, looking for her first career goal. You get a sense that she's another player that could find some offense too here soon. And, Ken Klee's been juggling some lines around, looking for that right ingredient. Pinching down Steckline, bouncing puck in the circle. Keller got it to the line, but not out. Held in. Now Peyshova. Off for Maloney. Maloney got it ahead, and it's swept in by the Fleet.
And Coach Ken Klee was just telling us they had their midseason evaluations. Maybe that's another chance for players to realize where they can step up and what they can do better. And maybe you'll see some new players kind of lead the way here in the second half of the season.
Maybe Claire Budarak, number 7 in purple, 25-year-old Minnesota State product. She's off the ice now. Now Watkins again. And Alina Mueller will shovel it back to the Minnesota zone where Sophie Jakes will control it. Now Panic, the puck carrier for Minnesota. She'll turn it over to Bard. And there's Hillary Knight. She'll just wrap it around for Boston. Out of her net is Hensley. Almost got caught. Minnesota's able to take control in the slot, but now again turned over to Bilka. She's a dangerous rookie. Shot on, saved by Hensley. They get it to the line, not out, held in by Brown. Her drive goes wide. Boy, Minnesota playing a little careless here in their own end.
Yeah, the shift went from bad to worse for Minnesota.
Now another drive that goes high off the stick of Bilka.
And this is why turnovers can dictate games. Turnover in the neutral zone leads to the chance, and then Nicole Hensley turns it over behind the net. So 2 turnovers on this shift have kept Boston alive.
Tapani now. And that's steered away with the blocker by Hensley. Out of play. Minnesota gets a much-needed whistle with 9:28 to go.
Well, Minnesota hanging on for dear life on that shift, but they catch a break here. We're scoreless with 9:28 to go.
See that Boston has been trending in the right direction, playing well right now. They're in 5th place, but all indications are that this is going in the direction that Courtney wants it to. 9 points in the last 5 games, including 5 straight games where they've earned points.
Yeah, they are definitely doing things right, and if they can pick up points in these last couple games before the break, you're really sitting pretty when you come out of that first international break. And even though there's somebody in 1st and somebody in 6th, Clay, the difference in between those 2 teams in points is not that far off. All it takes is 1 winning streak from somebody or 1 losing streak to flip things around, and that can happen in just a couple games with it being a 3-point system.
Tapani throws it out in front. Morin pushed it toward the net, broken up. Now Sydney Morin again off a skate of a Minnesota player. That was Steckline who got a boot on it. And now Minnesota will walk it back to neutral. Nice move. Drop back. Heisey, a shot. She scores. What a pass from Cava. And Taylor Heisey buries it. as Minnesota breaks back the other way and scores.
That one is going on the highlight reel for both the passer and the scorer. What a move after entering the zone. Take another look at it here. Just a little dip into some prime real estate. Then Heisey catches that pass and does what we know she can do so well, which is snipe that one home top shelf. A screen there on Soderberg. Kendall Coyne-Schofield had her player all tied up out front, and what a play. And Coach Ken Clee's got to be smiling on the bench, seeing Taylor Heisey get in the scoring column here. He said she's been trending in the right direction. She had a fantastic game against Ottawa, even though Minnesota got shut out. And now she gets the first goal of the game here. That was about as beautiful as a sequence as you're going to see.
Third goal of the season for Taylor Heisey. Cava with her second assist on the year. 11 points now in 13 games on the year. That sounds pretty good, but there had been a bit of a goal-scoring drought for Taylor. And so she's back on track. And you get a sense that there's a collective sigh of relief down on that Minnesota bench.
Well, Taylor Heisey had 7 points in the first 6 games of the season, then only 3 in the last 7 games. And as we know, she was dealing with injury and illness during some of that time, but they're going to need her to flip things around. This is a good start here today.
So Minnesota here at home jumps out to the 1-0 lead. Goal coming at the 11:05 mark. Cava and Kendall Coyne-Schofield on the assists. Minnesota 4-4 at home this season, but again shut out in 2 of those games. Good to see Minnesota get one here early as McQuigg comes in for the Frost. She'll take it high in the slot, drops it back. Shot saved by Soderberg as Jakes put it on, and she'll get to it at center ice and swing it back in to the Boston end.
And smart play by Jakes there. She had a player chasing her down. She just swings it the other way instead of trying to mess around with it.
Now Channel Watkins, a shot, and the rebound. Minnesota scores again. Just getting pucks to the net that's paying off as Brooke McQuigg scores her third of the year.
And you could see in the celebration how much this 2-goal lead means to this Minnesota team. Things have been not going well for Minnesota. The shot from the circle, Soderberg kicks out a big rebound the other direction, and McQuigg is able to find it and tap it home. McQuigg left wide open, and not many players are going to miss that wide open net, Clay. And Brooke McQuigg, one of the young players on this team. So you've got a goal from somebody who you expect the scoring from, and then a goal from somebody you don't always expect it from. That's a perfect recipe in my opinion. And Minnesota, just like that, has jumped to a 2-0 lead at home, and this rink has an energy we haven't felt in a little while here, Clay.
2 goals a minute and 25 seconds apart. And it is the 24-year-old rookie, Brooke McQuigg, getting the second one for the Frost. Past the 13-minute mark now of period number 1 as Boston will try to regroup and respond before the end of the period. Peshova is going to ice this puck for Boston. Face-up coming back out in front of Soderberg.
A good sign for the Minnesota Frost that they've been able to score the first one here today and get a little bit of good mojo going back on home ice, where they only have a couple wins this month, and both of them in overtime, both of them against Boston.
Here's the rookie Bilka. So fun to watch. One of the fastest players out there today. Tied for second in points by rookies with Britta Curl with 7. And here is Britta. She'll hand off for Panic. The return pass to Curl, broken up in the slot. And this is going to bounce back into the Minnesota end.
And Tapani did a nice job breaking up that lane there for the Boston Fleet, so that pass couldn't get across.
Brooke Bryant trying to get it out, held in, and that's going to skip wide of the net. Kind of took a funny bounce right by Nicole Hensley from the point. And Sophie Jakes chopped at there by Pelkey. Boston holds it in down in the slot. A couple of players go in a tangle. And Boston still controls. DiGirolamo plays it to the wall. Minnesota pushes it out through center. And it's going to drift back into the Boston end with 5:15 to go in the period.
That was a really smart play by Brooke Bryant, just to take the body there, nudge her off the puck.
Mueller attacking. got it on. Weak shot. Handled easily by Hensley. And it's just tough at times. Minnesota was home a lot in December and early January, and they're going to have a lot of road games ahead. Tapani plays it in deep for the Fleet. Claire Thompson jumping on it here for Minnesota. And the first-year player will get it back through neutral ice, where it's intercepted by Sydney Morin. 3 points in the last 2 games for Morin, the former Minnetonka skipper, back in her home state today. Here's another Minnesotan, Emily Brown from Blaine, who will trickle it in. Line change for the Fleet. You know, we were talking about Hockey Day Minnesota.
Yeah.
How many players on the ice today took part in Hockey Day Minnesota, either as a prep or a college player at one point in their career?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the 18th anniversary of Hockey Day, so 19. Thank you, our producer Katie, correcting me on that one. 19 years of Hockey Day, and yeah, a lot of players who've played over the years, whether at high school or college, and a lot of them, that's some of their favorite memories growing up, is playing on Hockey Day.
A little windy yesterday. In fact, Katie's a little windburn from yesterday's coverage. Did a great job. Good to see Jill Saulnier out on the ice here for Boston, of course, involved in that trade earlier in the week. She was going right for the net front. That pass was intended for it and missed. Now here's Bard holding it in for the Fleet. Dumps it in behind. Here is Saulnier. Keeps it alive. An aggressive forward, Jill is, and that's what Courtney is excited about. Courtney Kessel, the head coach, talking about Saulnier and the aggressive forecheck that she hopes to bring. Yeah,
that and her veteran presence are the two things she really touted to us as we talked to her ahead of the game. And she's excited about what Saulnier is going to be able to do in this lineup. And she also talked about, you know, we always talk about winning trades, but sometimes it's just a matter of a fresh start for all parties involved, and hoping Taylor Gerard can say the same with her new team and see how Jill Saulnier fits in with this Boston Fleet team.
Here's McQuigg. Look at the confidence of McQuigg. The rookie gets it on again. And it's steered away by Soderberg.
You could tell she didn't know if she wanted to shoot that or pass that. She had a couple players with her. But yeah, she skated in strong and confidently, and that's what a goal can do for your game.
Couple of minutes left in the period. Minnesota on good footing here to start this hockey game. From center, Keller gets it to the line, and Bilka's stick. Now here's Hillary Knight. She plays it back. Nobody home on the point.
Yeah, everybody had swept to the left side of the ice there, and Knight, the blind backwards pass, was trusting a defender would be there, but nobody was home.
Hillary Knight, by the way, her last goal came here back on January 2nd. 2 of her 4 goals on the year have come against the Frost. She likes playing against this team. She likes this building in particular. This one lifted all the way back down. 1:20 to go here in the opening period. Here's Kendall Coyne-Schofield. She'll feed it back into that empty corner. Tapani jumps on it for Boston. Now Keller, as she's driven down there by Coyne-Schofield.
That was a good forecheck by Minnesota. They've given themselves a chance here.
1 minute remaining in the period. 1 minute.
Good pass to Brandt at the Boston blue line. Minnesota keeps that to the outside. 50 seconds to go here in the period.
Yeah, Brandt peeled towards the point rather than towards the net. That gave the Minnesota defenders a chance to reset there. If she would have just kept her skates moving forward, she might have found a little bit of room there.
Rattray trying to advance it for Boston. Gets it into the zone. Half minute to go. Here's Sophie Jake. She'll clang it off the wall. Minnesota gets it out as Curl plays it to the logo at center ice. Broken up at the Minnesota blue line. This is going to be a Boston offside with 22 seconds to go. Visit shop.thepwhl.com today. Another face-off win for Minnesota. And now Alina Mueller with 10 seconds to go in the period gets it ahead for Maloney. Shea Maloney will feed it down into that corner. And Minnesota gets to it. And that's going to do it for the period. Minnesota 2, Boston nothing. Katie will talk with Brooke McQuigg. And the Fleet took a tour of Seattle when they were out there. We'll have it for you coming up next. Reserve adjustments. Boston made during the intermission. And one thing that I'm sure Minnesota game planned for was to be disciplined today. Boston has the #1 power play in this league, close to 24%. But it was a penalty-free first period. Neither team taking a penalty.
Yeah, and it was pretty clean all in all. I mean, it wasn't an overly physical game, and sometimes these matchups between Minnesota and Boston tend to lean that way, but it was more so just about speed and kind of pace in that first game, or that first period, I beg your pardon. And there's a look at those power play stats that Clay was just talking about.
As you look at Courtney Kessel, she was the associate head coach at Boston University before taking this professional opportunity. And we've got to know her quite a bit better this year because this is the third time they have been in Minnesota here in the last month. And so we've had some good long conversations about her team. And every time we talk to her, you can tell that there's more of an insight into what she's actually working with, and she really feels good about the progress.
And today I sensed an air about her of comfort, that she's much happier with the way her team is playing. You could just tell the way she talked about them. She's very pleased with the way things are going right now for this Boston Fleet team.
We talked about Jill Saulnier and her ability, to be aggressive. Boy, did she lug that puck in deep. Finally muscled off, but, I mean, she is aggressive. No fear in her game. She was traded from New York on Tuesday. The Sirens got Taylor Girard in that deal.
And when you play against a player like that, it's tough because every shift they're going to bring it. You have to brace for the physical impact as much as the talent, like a player with a player in Jill Saulnier.
Brown fed it down low, tipped just wide of the net by Maloney. Shea Maloney scored her second goal of the year Wednesday, leads the team with a +4, and she's been around the net a lot here in this game so far. Emily Brown now trying to keep it away from Himralova, and does. Now Himralova gets to the loose puck. Beats it to the point. Flaherty throws it back in deep for Minnesota. O'Donohoe racing after it for the Frost. Cycles it back for Shishova, and it's turned over to Boston. 17:15 to go. Second period, we're going to have another icing call.
And Minnesota a little bit more even in their scoring across all three periods. And you wonder what Coach Courtney Kessel said in that locker room at the first intermission. She was very pleased with their 2-0 lead in the last game after one, and now her team down 2-0 after one period of play here in St. Paul.
Two of those three overtime goals for Minnesota have come against this Boston franchise. This is Stecklein weaving, got a shot through the paint. Lee Stecklein, known for her defense, very offensive. They're trying to create something.
Well, she's a big body, so she can really take up some space out front when she finds her way down there, which, as you mentioned, isn't often, but when she does, she's tough to move around.
She is currently leading the league in ice time, the 30-year-old former Minnesota Golden Gopher.
And she never looks tired either, which is the most incredible part.
And Claire Thompson, her D partner, right there in minutes played, just a shade behind her. They've clocked a lot of ice time this year.
And how fun for Claire Thompson we talked about Hannah Bilka getting to play with some vets. How fun for Claire Thompson, who's had a great start to this season, getting to play with one of the best defenders to ever do it in Lee Stecklein. Hillary
Knight trying to steer that play toward the front. Minnesota keeping her to the outside, and now the Frost will take over. A pass from Heisey to Point Schofield, a little off target. Boston gets it back to the Minnesota line. Kava will steer it into the Boston end. Out of her net is Emma Soderberg, who gets the start today over Erin Frankel. Frankel 0-2 against Minnesota this season, including an overtime loss. But she has won 3 straight, including that victory on Wednesday night. And boy, did she have to work for it. 35 saves against Toronto in that 4-1 win. Now here's Panic, 3-on-1 for Minnesota if they hurry. Oh, a shot by Kelly Panic wide of the left post. Minnesota had numbers. Panic didn't put it on, so there was no rebound. And now here comes Boston the other way. Jamie Lee Rattray will carry it in deep, the veteran. Gold medal with Canada in 2022. She'll push it to the point. Now a shot, well wide. Kept in here on the near wing side by DiGirolamo, and her shot is on. And Hensley will get the draw.
Well, here's another look at that last chance for Minnesota. And I'm not sure exactly what she was trying to do there, but she did have Bryant on the back door, and I wonder if she was maybe hoping Bryant would sneak into that back post and get a piece of that as she just pushed that one wide. And sometimes there is such a thing as having too many options, and she had a couple players with her, had a chance to shoot, and the best players can think quickly enough to figure out what that best option is, but sometimes all of them look appealing, and Kelly Panic just threw that one wide.
And there's another icing against Minnesota's. Earlier on in the season, this team was riding off of her momentum.
Absolutely, and she's such a good playmaker. She just sees the ice so well, and she's got a couple goals on the season, but makes her money on those assists, and she's been very good for this Minnesota team, especially towards the start of the season. They could use her to get going again here, too.
Lexi Agia. Rink-wide pass. Still looking for her first goal of the season. She had 6 goals last year. Came over from Ottawa before the trade deadline a season ago. Here's Keller now fighting Budarak for that puck. And now Agia will just steer it in deep as Boston makes the line change.
We talked about how important it was Minnesota got that lead after getting shut out against Ottawa, but doubly important, they've hardly been scoring lately either.
Here's Jakes on the attack. The defender goes right toward the goal mouth. Boy, when Sophie makes up her mind,
she's hard to stop.
Good luck stopping her. Here's Budarak in the corner, puts on the brakes.
Yeah, she drives the net like a forward, but she's got the brains of a defender in the sense that she's always keeping that in the back of her mind whenever she's making those plays, and she's a tough body to slow down once she gets going.
3 points in 4 games since her return from injury, by the way. Now here's Kava trying to feed it to the front from a Quig, all ready for the one-timer, but it was poke-checked away at the last moment. Now Hillary Knight for Boston. Trying to feed it back for Alina Mueller. Thought about a long shot from a tough angle. Now here's Hillary Knight again. Mueller back for DiGirolamo. DiGirolamo just threw it down to the front. And it was off a body over to the far wing side. This is going to skid her back to the Boston blue line. Here come the Fleet again. DiGirolamo on a backhand shot, saved, and the rebound cleared to the far wing.
Nice tough shot there. She didn't have much to work with. She was being boxed out by Minnesota, but she gets a backhander push towards the net, forcing Hensley to get a piece of it.
Good stretch pass for Coyne Schofield. Now here's Minnesota. A drive from Heisey. The rebound for Coyne Schofield goes just wide of the post.
Man, Heisey can be so deceptive with her shot. Just when you think you've maybe got her figured out, she fires one in an area you weren't expecting and gets a good look there for the Frost, trying to make it 3-0.
Boy, Heisey, Coyne Schofield, and Kava have been productive here so far today. That top line for Minnesota. It is 2-0 Frost here in St. Paul. Back in a moment.
Minnesota continues to lead by 2 here in the second period in St. Paul. Well, during this game today, you're seeing a new name on the ice for the Fleet. Earlier this week, Boston acquired Jill Saulnier from New York in a trade. She's skating in her second game with her new team. Jill brings a lot of experience to the group. The 32-year-old competed in 2 Olympic Games for Team Canada. Coach Kessel's early impression has been her jump and overall quickness, but also her aggressiveness and her ability to get in on the forecheck. Guys, that's something Coach said they preach on this team. So she's simply a player that can lead by example, and they're happy with the leadership they're getting from their new forward as well.
Yeah, I think we've seen a little bit of that today. It hasn't resulted in any scoring yet, as Bryant is tied up right out in front of the net for Minnesota. Couldn't steer that one on. But no doubt that Saulnier's made an impression here on this game. Yeah,
she's made life tough for a couple Frost players so far in this one with her physicality and her determination to get to the puck.
Morin carries it in, got it on. This one rolls in behind. Here's Kelly Panic now for the Frost. Fanned on a clearing attempt. She'll have to cycle it back for Lee Steckline. Steckline for Curl. Panic will get it out. And it's going to roll back into the Boston end. Boston in 5th place, looking to make a little push here before the break, but they've got a 2-goal deficit here as we approach the midway point of the game. Shishiba now for Minnesota through center. Stick handling, trying to stay away from Schaafsal. Drops it off, and it's intercepted. Rattray comes in over the line, puts it on. And pad save there by Hensley. Only her 5th start of the year. Hensley, of course, had that lower body injury. It limited her for a couple of weeks. Good to see her healthy again, and so far she has been sharp today. Donahoe trying to move it toward the net for Minnesota, taken away. Shanna Watkins stapled up against the wall. Himralova comes over to support the puck for the Frost. And now this is O'Donohoe, got it to the line. Megan Keller knocks it down. Keller had an empty net goal the other night. She gets a backhand shot on. Rebound out in front. And a couple of pokes at it there by the Fleet. Kept out of there by Hensley.
Well, it ended up working out okay for Boston. They got a good look, but that initial pass by Keller to Agia. Agia was all tied up and just couldn't get her stick cleanly on it. Minnesota doing a nice job of taking care of the center of that zone area. And Boston's still able to force it towards the net. Here's a look at that no-look pass by Keller, and Agia, you can see tied up by Himralova there. And then Hensley swimming a bit in her crease, trying to keep that one out. And Boston probably their best look at the second period, maybe of the game so far here, as far as forcing Nicole Hensley to make some tough saves.
Keller a team-high 9 points. Only Minnesota's Claire Thompson has more points among defenders. Not uncommon to see her making an offensive statement in a game, and she did. Almost got Boston on the board. Under 10 minutes to go in the period. DiGirolamo, wrist shot. Now that hit a Minnesota player. Sophie Jakes took that in the midsection. Shea Maloney sends one wide of the near post. Bouncing puck goes right out in front. Couple of whacks at it there for Boston. And again, nothing to show for it.
If that puck was on the ice, that would have been an easy goal. But that puck was up in the air and not sitting still, and they still gave it their best effort there, but stays out of the back of the net.
Boy, this is an inspired Fleet bunch here at the midway point of the period now. DiGirolamo will reposition, gets it over to the right wing. One-timer for Bard. Another player for Minnesota took that one. And that was O'Donohoe. She doesn't appear to be any worse for wear. I mean, we talk about blocking shots. Minnesota doing it on that shift. Now a chance again, and they score. Hillary Knight. Blistering wrist shot right down in front. And the captain, with her 5th of the year, gets Boston on the board.
That was a great couple shifts by the Boston Fleet. As you had said, they were looking a little different than they had for most of this game. And no surprise, Hillary Knight, who we talked about loves playing against this Minnesota team, from the hash marks rips that one home. And man, what a beauty of a shot. That's why Hillary Knight has had so much success in the game. Her 5th goal of the season, and gets Boston back in this one. And that puts her first on the team in goals now. She was tied for first with 4 coming into the game. That 5th puts her solely in first place on this team.
Time of the goal, 10:54. And we'll see how that changes the complexion of this game. The 4-time Olympian. And we said it before, Hillary really has great luck against Minnesota. That's her 3rd goal of the year. So more than half of her tallies have come against the Frost. As Steckline retreats back to the Minnesota zone.
And sometimes that's just what happens. Certain players play better against certain teams, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything other than they just seem to find their game in those matchups. And Hillary Knight has played really well all season long, but especially against this Minnesota Frost team. And now just a 1-goal game with still a lot of hockey left to be played. And Minnesota's had some chances to extend it to a 3-0 lead play, and they weren't able to do it. And now Boston back in it.
How about that stick work from Brooke McQuigg just a second ago? Taking it right away from Keller, the veteran. Now here's Rattray on the far wing. Boston coming in again. Rattray throws it down low. Nobody there in a white sweater. As Flaherty swept it away. Steered to the corner by Emma Soderberg, the goaltender. Now Kava has some room behind the net. She'll feed the top. Batherson a drive. And a save there by the goaltender Soderberg one more time. Again, Soderberg has to be active. Now here's Heisey. Plays it off for Coyne Schofield, and she's quickly taken out of the play there by Brandt.
Good response shift by Minnesota here, looking to get their spark back.
Grant ties it up. Now out in front. Heisey scores. Oh, great pass to a lurking Taylor Heisey between the circles. And Minnesota answers back with their third of the game.
No better way to stop the Tide than to get another one. And the Minnesota Frost, after giving up a goal to Boston, their first of the game, get right back to it. And Taylor Heisey, I mean, whatever conversation she's been having with the coaching staff, which we know they've had some conversations with her the last couple of weeks here about how she can find ways to step up and score a little bit more this season. It's clicked here today. She's got 2 of them, and that's a big goal for Minnesota to get that 2-goal lead back and get some of the momentum back in their favor here. Boston was starting to feel themselves a little bit and looked like they were going to get back in it. Minnesota slams that door closed.
Yeah, less than 2 minutes after the Hillary Knight goal, Minnesota scores. Back to a 2-goal differential with just over 7 minutes to play in the period. The pride of Lake City, Minnesota, Taylor Heisey. We've got a Minnesota penalty. Power play for Boston when we come back. Knight scores, but then it's Heisey answering back for the Frost.
Minnesota back to their 2-goal lead here in the second period, joined by Frost head coach Ken Kleen. Coach, pregame, you said you wanted to see more energy out of your team. Are you seeing that in play so far?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're jumping, we're being first on pucks. That's what we want to play. We want to play aggressive style, we want to be on pucks.
All right, Coach, appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you.
Play.
All right, thank you, Katie. There you see Britta Curl taking an elbowing penalty at the 12:58 mark. So Boston, the #1 power play in the league, gets the first advantage of this game. The power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel Paper Towel. Power through tough messes. Boston, 23% on the year. That's first. But they've gone 3 games without a power play goal, so they're hungry for one.
That's the glimmer of hope if you're Minnesota.
Dropped down to the end line. Kicked away by Channel Watkins defensively for Minnesota. They got it to the line, but not out. Held in by Keller. And now Minnesota will force it out.
Great job by Channel Watkins down low on that initial opportunity. She just forced her whole body towards that puck to push it out of the way and then helps clear the zone once that puck got to the top of the zone.
Minnesota swats it out. Kelly Panic doing the honors.
And this is an important kill if you're Minnesota. You just got that 3rd goal. You got your 2-goal lead back. The crowd is re-energized, and now you got to kill off a penalty against the best power play in the league.
Look at the rookie Bilka just coming on. Sophie Shirley lost it. There's a one-timer from Mueller. Save made. Hensley looking for it. Boston still active on this power play. 45 seconds to go in the first advantage of the game. Alina drops it down to the goal line. Played to the high slot. Morin feeds it across. There's another shot broken up by Steckline. Got another boot on it. That's 2 times she's done that in this game. Looking more like a goaltender than a defender. 25 seconds to go in the power play. Peshova keeps it alive. Here's Mueller again, feeding it into the corner. Sophie Shirley is there. She's neutralized by Claire Thompson. Thompson from a knee tried to get it out of the zone. 14 seconds to go in this power play. Morin across Peshova. Spins around, hands back for Morin. 5 seconds to go in the power play. Here's Alina Mueller, a lot of room. Juggled the puck. And Minnesota's back to full strength. And here's Britta Curl coming on. Saved by Hensley.
Oh, my.
Lays out, lost it, but they blow the whistle. I don't think she saw it, but she did get the whistle. As Boston was very dangerous there right after the penalty expired to Britta Curl. What a furious power play and great goaltending by Nicole Hensley to keep this a 2-goal difference.
You need your goaltender to be your best penalty killer, and Boston got a couple shots through. Hensley stood tall. Minnesota blocking shots on that penalty kill as well. Play really good job of limiting chances for the #1 power play in the league.
A goal for each side here in the second period. Hillary Knight and Taylor Heisey, the 2 stars for either franchise. And we're going to get a penalty here. Interference call with 4:40 to go. And now Minnesota's going to get a chance on the advantage.
The former Frost, Susanna Tapani, heading to the box here, and right off the face-off, and you can see she just interferes with Kendall Coyne-Schofield, and Kendall Coyne-Schofield's really good at drawing penalties like that because she's always moving her skates, and when you're moving your skates, you're forcing your opponent to maybe make plays they don't want to make. She draws the interference call there.
So we didn't have any penalties in the hockey game, but now both players that were number 77 get the gate. They're late in the second. Another Royale Tiger Towel power play. First for Minnesota. They're fourth in the league in the advantage with 19%. Minnesota's last goal before today came on the power play, in fact, in the loss at Montreal 2 games ago. Now here's Heise right on.
She is feeling her game today. I mean, when Taylor Heise's playing well, this is the kind of hockey you see out of her. And watch how she just drives to the slot. She comes out of the circle, looks for that prime real estate, rips a shot up, and that's what good players do. Good players don't always settle for the tough shots. They find a way to get to open ice. And Taylor Heise, with already 2 goals today on hat trick watch here in the second period, looking for a quick one on the power play there. And Minnesota's actually spent a lot of time on the power play the last handful of games. The last 4 games, they've had 14 power play opportunities. But as you mentioned, only a couple goals in that stretch. So definitely looking for more, trying to boost that power play percentage here.
Last power play goal came from Michaela Kava. It was her first career power play goal. But already over a minute gone by on this power play. Tapani in the box. Interference call. Minnesota will regroup in its own end. Kelly Panik starts it back. Here on the near wing, Steckline. Playing keep away from Keller. Steckline for Panik. Panik off for Coyne-Schofield. Has room in the slot. Saved, rebound. And there was Shisheva right down in front of the crease. Now Panik again. 25 seconds to go in the power play. Then across for Steckline. Lee, stick handling. Off for Shisheva. Shisheva plays it across. Now back over here for Steckline. 12 seconds to go in the power play. Steckline had it broken up. Minnesota still active with it in the zone.
Great job by Panik to keep that puck alive.
Steckline a drive, and it's off the blocker of the goaltender, Soderberg.
Good sequence there by Minnesota and forcing Boston to kind of scramble around in the defensive zone here on the penalty kill.
3 shots on goal in that power play, the first of the game for Minnesota, but nothing to show for it. By the way, Coyne-Schofield, another assist here today. She now has 12 points. So that puts her in first in the PWHL in that category. What a great year for the veteran. Minnesota down low. Budarak got a pass right on her tape. Couldn't drive it home.
That was a little tight give and go there. Budarak gave it off, then went right to the net. Good drive there by Claire Budarak, but just couldn't find the back of the net once she got that pass back.
Claire Budarak from Andover, Minnesota. Under 2 to play. Here's DiGirolamo tied up, swung around by Kava. What a great job by Michaela Kava. Back checking there, but the forward lost it. Now here's Hannah Brandt for Boston. Flips it right to the goaltender, and Hensley's going to dive out and get the whistle.
Claire Budarak on the other side of the ice. Here's a look at it, the pass. And she had 2 players draped over her and just can't get her stick on it there. Then on the other side of the ice, Brandt from the goal line, just trying to get something going, and I don't hate it, right? You're down 2 goals. You don't have the luxury of looking for the perfect play at this point. You just have to throw whatever you can at the net, and Hannah Brandt does just that, giving Boston an opportunity there.
Hannah Brandt grew up in Vadnais Heights here in the Twin Cities. 3 national titles at the University of Minnesota. So many fans, hockey fans here in this building today, remember seeing her in maroon and gold. Fencing for it here at the Boston blue line. Fleet come away with it. Here's Tapani. She stood up at center. And then Kava gets it, quickly flips it back in as Minnesota will continue to try and apply some pressure. Now this will be an icing, but we'll see how the Minnesota Frost responded. That's been pretty interesting to watch.
Well, they're getting hit from all angles with the injury and illness bug. I mean, they've had goaltender injuries and illness. They've had defenders forward. So a little bit of everything has kind of been happening for the Minnesota Frost, and they're just trying to find their way out of it.
Two periods in the books. Minnesota Frost looking for their 4th win of the year against Boston. Katie will have a chat with the captain, Hillary Knight of Boston, and a look around the league when we come back. Second intermission from St. Paul starts in a moment. He's going to take this draw against Stepani. The 6 shots on goal. This game leads everybody. Heisey has just been a star in this one. Draw controlled by Boston as we're underway here in the 3rd. And Boston will get it in. Try to set something up. Quickly turned over to Kendall Coyne-Schofield. She'll try to exit the zone and does, getting it ahead to Heisey. Heisey swinging it across for Kava. Kava got a stick on it, and she'll force it in behind the Boston net. Now the Fleet breakout. Here's Hillary Knight leading the charge. She'll swing it in, down low, and it stops.
Susanna Tapani, she's had a good performance against this Minnesota team, just like Hillary Knight likes to play against them. So maybe she's the key to the comeback here for the Boston Fleet in the 3rd period.
Those goals were 49 seconds apart, a league record for consecutive goals by one player in the PWHL. She was traded from Minnesota to Boston in that Sophie Jakes deal. It's worked out well for both teams, quite honestly. There's Bard keeping it alive in the zone across. DiGirolamo had a shot ricochet to the near wing side. There's Bard now settling it down. Hands it back for Grant. That shot again tipped. Grant got a stick on it for Minnesota. Kelly Panic trying to adjust it. Brown get up against the wall, and now Minnesota has it with Sophie Jakes starting to break for the Frost. Good move. Bryant got a shot on, and Soderberg's able to turn it away, but that was a great effort there by number 17 in purple.
Yeah, she didn't have any other option. She was in all alone, so tries to find some open space and is able to get a pretty good look off of a chance that looked like it wasn't even going to develop.
Batherson is going to miss the net, so that's going to be an icing when the Quig almost caught Soderberg out of position.
She's had a great game today. I mean, she's obviously got a goal in this one, but on top of that, she's had a couple good looks and has just really played inspired today. She's found ways to get to the puck and get to open space, and I've really liked her game this afternoon.
Rookie with 4 shots on goal in this game. There's O'Donohoe. Saw that one roll off her stick. Lost it. Boston gets it back to center. And now steered back in by the Frost. Coming up on the 3-minute mark here of period number 3. A 2-goal lead for Minnesota, trying to bury a 3-game losing streak. Megan Keller again, the alternate captain from Farmington, Michigan, gets it ahead. And now Bard wants to regroup. Sydney Bard, the rookie from Colgate, adjusts back at her blue line. Now Boston on the attack. Bilka swung it toward the slot. Shisheva intercepted. And now O'Donohoe will get it out of the zone for Minnesota.
Good job by O'Donohoe to come in and help out. Shisheva got twisted around and didn't have a chance to get that puck out, so O'Donohoe helps her out.
O'Donohoe, also a rookie from Colgate. She was signed after that Don Petrie injury. Tipped right on, rebound, and they score, and it is Tapani. Holy cow. Boy, were we foreshadowing. Susanna Tapani in the 3rd period gets hot again, and it's a 2-goal game now for Boston. One behind Minnesota here with 16:24 to go.
Well, that starts at the point by Keller, and then the tip out front by Hannah Bilka, who we've talked about a lot here in our broadcast. And Knight feeds it across. She knows she's got players out there that can get a stick on it, and Tapani on the back door sees a wide open net, is able to tap it home. And Clay, there's something to be said about playing against your former team. You play a little bit differently, especially when it comes in the form of a trade that you're playing against your former team. And Tapani has really enjoyed playing against this Frost team this season. Another third-period goal out of the former Minnesota Frost to give her team a chance. It's a one-goal game once again with a lot of time left in the third.
Well, we were talking about that with Hillary Knight. 3 of her goals this year have come against Minnesota. And now Tapani with the hot hand against the Frost. Scores at 3:36, so a lot of game left. The assist going to Bilka and Knight.
And Minnesota needs to be careful. Boston scores most of their goals in the third period. We showed you the period-by-period numbers earlier in the game, but 11 of Boston's goals coming into this game here today came in the third.
Good pass from Brandt. Here's Alina Mueller, cut off nicely on the back check by Maggie Flaherty. Flaherty just put her on halt mode.
Not easy to do. She's a fast player.
One of the fastest on the ice. Now this is Bryant. A tough angle that was deflected. Panic tries to flip it out in front. Intercepted there, and Mueller will start it back for the Fleet one more time. Here's Maloney. Double teamed, a shot on through the screen. Steered away there by Nicole Hensley. Hensley playing well. But the game has gotten tighter. Maloney another shot. Knocked around down low. Minnesota gets it to the wall. And they're able to push it out. Britta Curl getting it back to the Boston line. Shirley, off for Schaffsall. Schaffsall pulls up on the half wall. And now intercepted there by Mae Batherson for Minnesota. She got it out of the zone. 14:35 to go. McQuigg trying to send it cross ice. And now Channel Watkins steps up for Minnesota. She'll drive around Payshova. Channel Watkins looking to center and does. Budarak was knifing in. And she was tied up a little bit. Couldn't really get a good momentum shot on toward the net. Played to the line. Held in here. Jakes. Here's Sophie moving in. Great pass. They score. Sophie Jakes. What a beautiful touch pass down in front of the net. And that is Katie Knoll with the goal. Her first career goal, and it's a 4-2 game.
Sophie Jakes, you have got to be kidding me with this shift. The hold at the blue line is a beauty in itself. Then she dances past the defending Boston Fleet and rips a pass over to Katie Knoll, who makes no mistake. And this is why Sophie Jakes can be so dangerous. That puck had no right to even be in the zone at that point, and she's able to make a play out of it. And then Katie Knoll, as you mentioned, getting her first goal of the season. Man, we've seen a lot of wide-open tap-ins here in this game today, Clay. I mean, both these teams are finding ways to get some space on that back door. And the goal scorers have made no mistake here today. So congratulations to Katie Knoll on her first of the season.
You know, I don't know if you really want to call them the fourth line, but at least on the sheet that we're given before the game, they're the fourth line. Knoll centering, McQuigg and Budarak. How good have those three forwards been in this game today?
Fantastic. I mean, all of them have had opportunities, have created plays. We talked about McQuigg already. She's got a goal. Knoll has got a goal, and Budarak has had her chances.
There's a save by Hensley. Down in front on the backhand. Hillary Knight again. Boy, this is going to be something Katie Knoll will remember for the rest of her life. The Amherst, New York native, making it 4-2 Minnesota.
They're in desperation mode here. They're just trying to swat that puck in deep. They don't even know if they're going to be able to hold the line, so at the very least, let me just try to push this puck forward. But what does Sophie Jakes do? She says, not only am I going to hold the line, I'm going to take this puck up the ice, and I'm going to create a scoring chance for my team. And that's what separates a good defender from a great defender. And Sophie Jakes able to force that puck ahead and set up Katie Knoll for her first career PWHL goal.
So Jakes now 4 points in the 5 games since her return from that injury. Boy, they missed her when she was gone. And it's been a different team since she has come back, just as far as her energy. But now we've got a penalty, and this is going to go against Minnesota. And it's Flaherty getting the gate.
Yeah, this was close. We'll get the call here. So Coach Ken Klee, you saw his face in our shot. He doesn't like it. Here's another look at it. And yeah, that's the right call. In real time, it looked like it was closer. And I think if you just box out there and you don't actually take her down, that goes unnoticed by the official. They kind of, that's just part of the game. But when you take a player down, they're more likely to call the interference, and that's the case there. So Minnesota got that 2-goal lead back, but now they're going to have to kill a penalty.
Boston 0 for 1 on the power play. Just one shot officially on their first advantage. As Bilka controls. And it's another Royale Tiger Towel power play. The penalty kill for Minnesota the first time that they had to, fend one of these off. They blocked a lot of shots, Alexis.
They did, and Hensley made some big saves when she needed to as well, so it was the perfect recipe.
Now shorthanded. Here comes Minnesota with Himralova taking it the length of the ice. She's going to put one on. Soderberg steers that one away with her shoulder. Minnesota does not have a jailbreak goal as of yet this season. And we should remind everyone who's maybe new to this league that the jailbreak goal is something innovative. You spring your player from the penalty box if you score shorthanded.
Yeah, Minnesota, as you said, doesn't have one yet. Boston has allowed 2 shorthanded goals so far this season. And Minnesota, with the speed they like to play with, I'm kind of surprised they don't have one yet. But first things first on the penalty kill is to kill the penalty, so the opportunity doesn't always present itself.
Well, this is going to buy some more time for Minnesota. Boston just trying to find some traction here. 30 seconds to go on the advantage as they rush up the ice. Oh, it's intercepted. Now a chance the other way. Minnesota has some numbers. Heisey, a shot. Save made by Soderberg. Now Shisheva causing problems for Boston. 15 seconds to go.
I'm telling you, Taylor Heisey's going to score a 3rd goal in this game at some point.
Peyshova to the point. Good shot there by Morin, and that's going to do it. Minnesota back to full strength. Flaherty back into the play. Boston is going to send a weak backhand toward the corner. 10:50 to go. Remains a 2-goal game. This one goes airborne. Shisheva trying to track it down, but DiGirolamo got there first for Boston. But it's turned over. Here comes Katie Knoll again. Katie Knoll is taken down behind the net. No whistle. Boy, look at Knoll feeling all confident now that she's got that first one.
Clay, I am telling you, you saw Brooke McQuigg have that extra pep in her step after her goal today. Katie Knoll playing really well after that goal. And I mean, it's incredible. And it just really changes everything for a player when you see one go in the back of the net. Especially in a game like this where it's a tight game, it's a meaningful goal. That adds a little extra something to it as well.
Two-goal deficit for Boston. This is going to be tough to overcome for the Fleet. Ranked last in the league in scoring before that 4-goal outburst Wednesday night against Toronto. Alina Mueller, coming alive in that game. They need someone to step forward now, whether it be a Hillary Knight, who's already got a goal in this game, or an Alina Mueller. Down 2 as we're past the halfway point of the 3rd period.
And it's especially tough when you haven't had any kind of a lead in the game or even tied the game. You've been playing from behind the entire day, and that is an exhausting way to play hockey.
Yeah, Minnesota got those first 2 goals in the first period. Heisey and McQuigg, and they haven't looked back.
And especially on the road. I mean, it's tough to play from behind and come from behind on the road. Especially when you're Boston, who hasn't had a lot of success on the road either.
Channel Watkins feeds it for Heisey, who's looking for the hat trick. Drops it back. Channel Watkins lets it go. That blast is knocked down. Bard got her body in front of it. Back to the Minnesota line where Jakes plays it ahead. Here's some room now for Kendall Coyne. Schofield, she scores! 5-2 Frost.
And that's now 6 goals on the season for the captain, which matches her total from last year. I mean, great pickup in the neutral zone, and then she does what she does best. She turns on the jets, and she finds a little bit of separation, fires the shot from the bottom of the circle, and is able to beat Soderberg. And with the way that Boston's continued to try to battle back in this one. This is a big separation goal for Minnesota to get that little extra insurance and make it a 3-goal game for the first time here today. And Boston's only trailed by 3 goals once this season, and it resulted in a regulation loss. So Minnesota trying to put a stop to the Boston comeback here in the third period, and they're getting scoring from just about everybody. Whenever you have a box score like that where you see a lot of different names, that makes the coaching staff very happy, Clay.
The league leader in goals now, Kendall Coyne-Schofield, the league leader in points. How about the Minnesota captain having one of the best years of her career? Now a pass ahead. Here's Knoll again. She'll drop it back for Budarak, but that pass was a little tardy. Under 8 minutes to go. Now a real sense of urgency for Boston. They absolutely have to get the next one. The Boston win on Wednesday night was their first win by a 3-goal margin in team history. Like we said, I mean, now for them to have to come back from 3 down, especially with only 7 minutes and a half to go, it's going to be tough.
Well, and I'm laughing because when you brought that up to Coach Courtney Kessel, she kind of laughed and said, oh, I know it was the first time, because, of course, as a coaching staff, you're hoping that that's something that would have happened much earlier in your history. But they get a big win against Toronto the other night, and now they're down 3 to a Minnesota Frost team who has been desperate to get back in the win column and just to get some scoring back, which they've got the scoring touch here today, and at this rate, they're going to get back in the win column if they can hold on for the last 7 minutes, but we'll see what kind of energy and urgency that Boston can play with here late in this third period.
8:46 the time of that goal. Coyne-Schofield, her 6th of the year from Sophie Jakes, who has 2 assists today. Oh, good pass down low. What a save by Hensley as Rattray had a great A scoring chance and a beautiful pass down low. Backhand knocked down by Steckline. Now here's Keller for Boston, looking to create. On the backhand, will take it high and feed it off for Bard. Sydney Bard looking for a window to shoot.
You can feel the urgency coming from Boston on this shift.
Just over 6 minutes to go. Puck is jarred loose. Minnesota has it, and they'll get it back to center ice.
That was a great job by Imlarova on the boards there to tie up her player.
Down low, Hillary Knight goes to the net front. She was waiting for a pass that never came. Now Channel Watkins for the Minnesota Frost will start it back. Comes near side to Steckline. Channel Watkins and Steckline playing catch and keep away. Time is on Minnesota's side now.
Well, and this is what's so beneficial about having a lead like this, is it's easier to get back to the basics when you don't have to play with urgency. You overthink things when you have to play urgent and you have to play tight games. With a 3-goal lead, you can just stick to the basics of hockey and try to keep it simple.
Tapani drops it back for Knight. Knight puts it on. Hensley stays sharp late. Bryant got it to the Boston line. Turned back by the Fleet, and this is going to be icing on Boston. Here's Kendall again, weaving through the defenders. There's no better puck carrier in this league than Kendall Coyne-Schofield. Now she's fencing with DiGirolamo for it. Peyshova got it loose. Hands off for Mueller. Mueller swings it up along the boards, and Maloney got it out to center for Boston. Boston needs to find setup time in the attack zone, and Minnesota's just frustrating that idea. Here's Claire Thompson now. Thompson steps in over the line. Tried to feed it ahead for Knoll. Boy, Knoll has been on the ice a lot. And, you know, she's getting the opportunity she's been looking for. That's just tipped over the net by Budarak. Check that. That was McQuigg.
This line has been so good.
And now in the corner.
Coach Ken Klee kept it simple. He said, play better, score more, get more opportunities, and you can see that playing out here today.
That's another shot on for McQuigg. She's got no fewer than 4. Pelkey trying to feed a pass for Shopsall, who was in the slot. She was tied up. Now taken away here. Keller mishandled the puck.
Budarak is gassed. It was the end of her shift, and she was lugging it up ahead trying to catch up with that puck, but she'll head to the bench here.
Sophie Jakes, what a game for the Minnesota defender. 2 points here this afternoon. Rattray tied up. Back for Keller. Keller for Morin. Sydney Morin, her shot. Mister goes right off of Shishiva's body. Now off to the far wing corner. Under 3 minutes to play. Boston running out of time. Boston has earned points in 5 straight games. That streak is ready to come to an end, and Minnesota's ready to end a 3-game losing drought.
In Minnesota, I mean, we've seen them play some really good hockey this season. They're not second in the league for nothing, but they've been on a bit of a bad stretch, as we've talked about at length here today. This is maybe some of the most confident hockey that we've seen Minnesota play, especially as of late. I mean, they just seem very comfortable, very clinical with the way they're going about this game. Everybody is clicking. It doesn't matter what line is out there. Everybody's been contributing here today.
Yeah, 7 different players with points today for Minnesota. Here's Panic. Curl couldn't stop it. Boston keeps it in. 2 minutes to go. Sydney Morin again. Minnesota native gets it in behind the net. Hensley looking for it there. Poking at it is Knight, trying to maybe get a break, but there's number 26, Kendall Coyne Schofield, the leading goal scorer, the leading point getter in the PWHL right now. And she has an assist and a goal here today. He's going to come all the way back down into the Boston end. Coyne Schofield played it toward the net, deflected. Boston's got it. Pelkey will just angle it in. 1.5 minutes to go. Flaherty gets there first for the Frost. She'll corral it. Coyne Schofield goes rink wide. There's Heisey. Ahead for Kava. Kava loves the wraparounds. And she'll play it to the point. Lee Steckline will cradle it. Steckline just inside the blue line. Flips it down low. Off the end boards. Heisey's back there. Taylor Heisey swings it to the middle. It's intercepted and flipped out of the zone. Under 1 minute to go in Minnesota. Less than a minute from their first victory in some time. And this one's going to feel good on a Sunday afternoon with 1 game to go before the international break, when they can maybe get some people healthy and come back after that break in mid-February at full strength.
And I think that's what's most impressive to me, at least, about this win for Minnesota, is that they didn't stumble into this victory. They played a really smart, really sound game, getting contributions from a lot of different players. So it's the kind of victory that you're going to look back on as a whole and say that was one of our best games of the season, not just given the circumstances that they've been losing a lot lately, but just that this is the kind of hockey, if you're the Minnesota Frost, you want to play night in and night out.
And for Nicole Hensley, a really good game, too. Coming off that loss at Montreal, she's back in the win column. Minnesota, 5-2 over Boston in front of a nice matinee crowd here in St. Paul. That's going to do it from St. Paul. For Katie Storm, for Alexis Pearson, and our entire crew, I'm Clay Matvick saying, hope you enjoyed it. New York and Ottawa, our next PWHL broadcast coming your way tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. 5-2 the final. The stars shining brightly for the Minnesota Frost. Frostbitten no more. A 3-goal win in the capital city today.